In this video, we will learn how to make an AI that can see in its environment by using raycast to perceive objects around it. We will also change the model's form of locomotion so that it has a more natural movement. Alrighty everyone. To start this off, we're going to focus mainly on the agent here. We don't really need to do anything with the environment because we're going to be adjusting that in the future and make it a bit more complicated, but for right now we're just going to focus solely on movement. So let's go over here into our prefab so that way all of the environments change. Access our agent. We will keep everything the way it is right now, but we're going to go ahead and access the agent controller script that we've made earlier. Wait for it to load up. And then here what we're going to be doing, we're going to be adjusting OnActionReceived, and we're going to be making a new function as well as a new variable. So let's start off with creating the new variable. We're going to create a private object. It's going to be private Rigidbody, and we're going to call it RB. Just, for Rigidbody, something short and simple. And then we're going to create a new function, and it's going to happen before onEpisodeBegin occurs. In fact, I believe it'll only occur the first time, and then it'll stay persistent afterwards. So we're going to do public override void initialize. And so this, let's see, does it tell me about it here? No, okay, it doesn't. It's just going to say that. But yeah, essentially we're just initializing. It's kind of like the in standard Unity. I think you're making a game. There's start, and then there's like a function you can call that preempts start, and so it's there beforehand. This is the same thing. Initialize. And we're just going to do RB for the Rigidbody equals get component. And we're going to get the Rigidbody. And so this will receive the Rigidbody component from our agent. So if we go over to Unity, we see, we can close this and close the script. We have a decision requester, sorry, we have a Rigidbody here. And that's on our agent. That's how, it lands on the ground. And when we were able to glitch through the outside, it fell. It's because of the Rigidbody there. So let's go back to Pellet Grabber. Actually, I have 3 open. Oops, okay. One's old. But yeah, that's all we need to do for here. We just need to get the Rigidbody. And then we're going to go to OnActionReceived, and we're going to change the way that we move. So OnActionReceive right here. We can get rid of all this. I'll comment it out just in case we want it later. I would recommend, unless you're not going to want to change anything, or change the type of movement, I should say, in which case you could just delete it. I'm going to leave it just so that way we have the work saved. We're going to change these names because we're no longer going to be moving on just an XZ axis. I mean, we're still moving on those axes, but we're not going to be moving according to that coordinate grid. So, like the X axis, we're not going to just be moving left and right, up and down on Z. We're not going to be doing that. We're going to be moving forward, and we'll rotate. I can't rotate the mouse, but you can tell it's much smoother movement than doing, like this stuff. It's going to actually be like when you're walking forward and you want to turn, you don't just start walking sideways. You're going to actually rotate that direction. So we're going to we're going to rename this to, we'll just call it move rotate. Actually, I have the wrong one open on this side. You can see it, that's my test one. We'll go grab this one. That's good. We'll do move rotate, and then a move forward. And now we're gonna use the Rigidbody that we made. So we went and we initialized this as RB, and we went and minimized. Actually, no. Sorry, we initialized this here, and then we set it to the Rigidbody. So now we're going to actually use that Rigidbody. We're going to have RB.movePosition. So this is like how we did the transform.move, but this is going to be for the rigid body function move position. And we're still going to use the transform call. We're going to transform to this position. And we're going to take into consideration the forward direction. So whatever the direction is that we're moving, it's going to be forward. And I'm combining words as I talk. Transform dot forward, which will be on, I believe, the x-axis is going to be the quote-unquote forward direction. And we're going to move at this rate. Or we're going to take in the key, the action for move forward. I need to just copy and paste that so that way I can actually write it. And we're going to move for the speed that we set for move speed. And in order to keep this nice and smooth, we're going to do time.delta time. So that way we're frame rate independent and just run at a nice smooth movement. Now if we do this, that's just moving forward. It doesn't take into consideration rotating at all. And we're not going to use the rigid body for this. We're actually just going to do transform.rotate. We can just rotate this way, 0F, and then move rotate. I'm just going to copy and paste that there. And then, we're not going to move on to the next one. We're going to times that by the move speed. And then we're going to do 0F and space dot self. And so now that'll take care of our locomotion. So I'm going to save, just so that way Unity does its thing, hopefully. And what this is doing is we're calling the rotate function, under the transform class. We're not going to, this is the x-axis. We're not going to rotate along the x-axis, and we're not going to rotate along the z-axis. But we are going to rotate along the y-axis, which in 3 dimensions, that's like going from your head to your toes. When you rotate, you're rotating about that. Your head isn't changing. You're not, flipping onto your side or anything. And so we'll be rotating along the y-axis at the rate that we like to move. We could always set a variable for rotation speed if we want to slow it down or not. And then this one, it says the coordinate space in which to operate. It's really just saying to rotate about its own coordinate space, so about the center of its own body. And that should be it. That should work. So let's go in here, and yep, it was all ready. Let me just make sure, yep, we have everything disabled. I'm going to try my best just to always change the prefab, so then that way I don't have to copy and paste things all the time. Heuristic, and actually, is that going to change it? This might be, yeah, it's not a copy because we altered it, because you see here that one changes. So let's fix that real quick. We'll do this. We're going to delete this. Actually, we don't want to delete that guy yet. We want to get this lined up. So it's Control-C, Control-V. And we're just going to move it over to that spot. So that way we can just alter the prefab. We will delete this environment. And we're going to rename this one. Why did it do that? There we go. And just rename this one to environment. And we'll move it right back up into that spot. Hide this guy. We look here. Agent, heuristic only. Save. And now let's run it and see if it works. Oh, I am in full screen again. That's okay. We get an up close look. So this is me holding S. So me holding W. Now look at holding A. It rotates. And now D. And so we can go forward and we can turn like this. Now the only issue, the AI is not going to have an issue with knowing the forward direction, but we will, because yep, see that? I don't know which way I'm facing. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go back into the environment. We're going to access here. And actually, let's see if we can just do a prefab of this agent. We'll access the prefab. And we're moving along the x-axis, I believe. So in here, we will create a 3D object, and we're going to create a cylinder. Now let's make this really small by comparison. We don't need it to be that big. Shrink it a bit more. and pull it out here. Rotate. Let's grab this one. It's going to be rotating here. We'll want this at 90 degrees. We're just going to make a face for our little agent. Right here. We're going to have very big eyes. So we can just, actually, I didn't even realize I was naming that. We're going to name it left eye. And these won't do anything. It's not going to be an is trigger or anything. In fact, we're going to disable the collider because that'll actually mess with things in the future, which I will explain right after I make his face. Right eye. And we'll move it over to here. And then create another, actually we'll just copy and paste, move it under here, name it pupil, and then we'll make this a little bit smaller. You know, we'll make him kind of look in a little bit. Maybe we'll make him look to the side. Then we'll go make material, create material, name it pupil, and we'll make the color black. Pupil for pupil. Oops. Oh, I see. I see the issue. We actually need to pull it out slightly so that way it can be seen. So copy this one to here. We can just name it pupil as well. It's not going to care. That's a little, there we go. That's better. Look at him. Now let's make a mouth. So we'll just, it's going to be a very basic mouth. We're going to do a cube. Same size. We're going to name it mouth. Make it small. Bring it out. Shrink it down. And we'll shrink this way too. Just that way it's not that big. It's hidden, so it doesn't really matter. But we'll hide it a little bit. And then we'll want to make a mouth color. So create material mouth. What color should his mouth be? Let's make it orange. Kind of like an orange color. There we go. Kind of a weird mouth. Maybe we'll make it a little bigger. There we go. Okay, I think that works for our little agent. So let's save, and then we will run again. Oh, and it's going to maximize the play space. And then we'll do a training session to see. So let's do that, and look at that. Now we move that way. So we can go and we can grab this, and we can keep grabbing them. And this is going to come in handy for the future. Oh, actually, we got to change one thing. One more thing I forgot to change. We'll go into prefabs, go to the agent, mouth. We want to disable box collider. Now, the reason why we're disabling these colliders is, let's go back into play mode, and I can kind of see if I can point it out a little bit. So we can see, actually, I think the eyes are floating off of the body. Yeah, they're not even in contact with the head. But so that actually makes a perfect example. So let's try to move right here. Yeah, okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to finally move enough, but see how the eyes would make contact with the ball before the body? Well, in the, if we had the colliders there, when it would touch it, it would count as making contact. It would count as collecting, which might, you know, seem like not that big of an issue, but in the future, we're going to have multiple of these, and we're going to have a more robust spawning system that will take into account how many are left for when an episode ends. Because right now, when we just hit it, you know, if I go and I open this, if we just make contact with the pellet, it's done. We end episode. If there's multiple, we don't want to end the episode when we hit just one. Like if there's two, we want it to be when there's two. And so we're going to take into account how many are left. And so a bug that I had found before, a little sneak peek, you guys, we won't really have to deal with that, hopefully. But when the eye would make contact with it, would remove it, but then the body would make contact immediately after within like the same frame. And so it would count as 2 of these. So it would end, but there would still be one more there. Or it would hit into the negative and it would cause like an index error, that sort of thing. So we want to make sure that there's no triggers on them, which we'll double check. None. These were all copied from each other. That's good. Let's move these eyes back into his head. There we go. Because, you know, we don't want, I don't think having your eyes float outside your head is a good thing. Okay, save. And now let's do some training. We'll go and we'll open this back up. Show Explorer. Grab my Explorer window. Do command prompt. And we're going to want to access the environment. So ML V, and actually, was it a capital V? Oh, oops, I gotta move into here anyways. LS, oh, it was a lowercase v. MLVENV backslash, oops, I didn't mean to hit enter, backslash scripts, backslash activate. Okay, now we're in here, so now we can just, we're not gonna mess with any settings or anything, just bare bones settings. It's very simple environment, which is okay. So let's do MLAgents -learn, and then --run -id equals, we're going to call it new locomotion, and then we'll name it run1. So we'll get this going. Is it going to be ready for us? Minimize this stuff. Yep, it's ready. So let's go. We're going to hit unfocused. And actually, let's go ahead and undo all of these. And then back ourselves up. So that way we can see them all train. And we'll hit play. Now we'll have this up so that way we can see the training taking place on both. Oh, oops. I know what we did wrong. Let's stop the training. Let me exit this, please. Go into the environment. Oh, I think we're going back in. Yep. I shouldn't have hit play. I should just let it. Oh, wait, no. Yes. Yeah, we are. I should have just let it do its thing instead of trying to do it myself. We're going to go to the agent and we're going to make it default. And so then if I just check these, this one is default and this one is default. Good, good. So now we'll save. And I think now's the time to show a nice little command that we could do. So if we do this and we do --resume, it'll allow us to just resume where we left off. And this comes in handy if you want to continue training on a brain and change the amount of steps that it does, because it only does so many steps before it stops. Oh, it might have never started. I think we stopped too soon for it to actually start. So in that case, we can just do this. Oh no, nope, never mind. I thought it was going. I thought we had purple in the background. What's the issue? Oh, they found it with resume. So that's the issue. I completely messed it up. The resume command does work. In fact, I'll demonstrate it with this new ID. We'll do a little bit of training and then we'll resume. So let's start up. Have this going. And we will go until the first pause. Okay, so we can see it hit the 50,000 mark here. So we're going to do Control-C to stop it. And this should, stopped on its own. So now we'll do this. And if we were to try to do this, it would spit out an error. In fact, we can see that error right here if we try to do it. See, saying it's already there. To use resume or use force to overwrite the existing data. So now we're going to do -- resume, and it'll work. And we'll sit through and we'll just watch them train on its own. And there's actually one more thing that I want to, I think, do before we end. While it runs, I'll debate on whether or not we'll do that now or do that for separate in the future. So interesting results. We actually didn't end up with that great of an agent. It didn't really improve at all from the beginning, which I've never actually ran it like this, where they're moving in this way of locomotion while still having the directions or the what would you call it, the coordinates of the object. Which actually, let me just make sure that we still have those coordinates. On episode begin. Target local position, and add observation. So yeah, we know where those are. Maybe it would just need a lot more time to train, or perhaps we should mess with the reward a little bit. So if we get the pellet, let's say because it's a bit harder now for it seems. Let's say it's a reward of 5, and we'll try that training and see how that goes. So new locomotion, run 3, and let's see what happens here. So it'll be interesting to see. So interesting results. It almost started to break the pattern of bouncing between positive and negative, but then it went right back. I think while it was running, I was thinking about it. I think I know what the issue might be. It's not something we're going to try to address because the goal that I have in mind for this project, we don't really need it. So it doesn't quite matter. But I think the issue is it knows where this is, but it doesn't know where it is itself, because of the fact that we're no longer just adjusting the transform.local position, but instead we're using the local position to change move position. I don't know exactly how move position works other than just allowing you to move with a rigid body, so that might not be the issue, but I'm leaning towards that being the issue. So we're going to actually change something that I was going to, until I saw the results for these tests, I figured we should probably address that. Now, if you want, I recommend pausing here, trying to fix it yourself, maybe explore some other avenues and see what you can find out, or see what you can figure out. Great learning experience. And yeah. All right. Hopefully you guys tried. If not, then that was just a weird, pause for you guys. We're going to get rid of this. We'll just comment it out. Really, we don't need it anymore. We're probably never going to use it, but that's fine. We're just going to comment it out. And be like, wait, how are we going to observe it if it's not there, or if we're not looking at it? Well, let's go back and let's access we'll access the environment instead of actually, I don't think we can access any of the stuff on, we can. On my own copy, I can't do that. Oh, maybe I made the prefab before adding all this. That could be the case. Well, in either case, let's just access through here. Let's first the observation. We only need 3 now because we only have the X, Y, and Z of itself, which possibly we don't even need that. We'll see. Given on how it worked, we could maybe experiment and see. We're gonna do 3. I don't know why these have values, but we'll just leave it. Use child sensors. We're gonna have that enabled, because what we're going to add here is a ray perception sensor 3D. And let's see how this is placed. Doesn't seem like it's that bad. It's not. Oh, oops. How did it get placed in here? It didn't. I should place this on an object. My bad. We will remove component. We're going to create an empty object, call this ray. And we'll add the perception sensor here. And so you see it interacts here, but it doesn't, once we're inside, it's not interacting with the rest, which must be because these don't have colliders, which would make sense. I had that issue before, but I didn't realize that was the collider issue. And let's move it right here. That seems good. Right in the nose. And we'll rotate just to make sure. Yep, it picks it up. And let's go and we'll go and make this ray cast a little better. Rays per direction. Changing the number of rays or ray runtime is not supported and may cause errors during. Okay, that's fine. Rays per degree. Let's have a tighter degree. We're not going to be able to see it as far. And sphere cast size. I think that's okay. That's an okay size. Now, sensor name, we'll leave it as that. I don't think we need to do anything else. Just having this checked will automatically know that this is here. We don't need to do anything. That's taken care of through the machine learning library. Now let's just see how far can it see. Okay, that's a good distance. You can see everything across the map. We want to be able to see all the way. We don't want them to just, not see anything. Let's go exit here and run down here. Just see how it reacts. So do that. And then I'll hide all these actually, just so that way we're not interrupting them. Do this, make sure that we change things here. Save, select you, hit play, and we'll just see how this looks. All right, so we're here. The raycast, it does that little funny thing. Oops, let me click up here. There we go. And we can see it turning. We can see the spheres are colliding. So now let's try doing some training and just see how that goes. So we'll go and we'll bring this back. Actually, I need to unhide all of these. I think we should just to probably speed up training a little bit. Highlight. Control C, Control V, and move them all right there. That's good. Oh, we also want to go back here and make sure that it's not on heuristic, it's on default. Save. Now let's do some training. So new locomotion run, raycast run. We'll name it raycast run 1. Let's do this. If it doesn't work, then we might have to start messing with the config a little bit. But that won't be in this episode. We'll go here. And let's just see what he figures out. Actually, hold on. I realized I forgot something. Exit this, go back into the environment real quick. The ray, we need to tell it what it can see. Display hit. Layer mask. Where is it? Actually don't, detectable tags. There we go. We want it to see wall, and we just have them as a wall, correct? Walls. Yep. Oh. Oh wait, no, never mind. Sorry, those are the names. Yeah, wall. I was like, how has it been working this whole time? That makes sense. And pellet is pellet. So go back here, wall, and pellet. Now, when the ray hits, it knows what it's hitting. It's not just hitting colliders, and it's like, oh, I can't tell the difference between a wall and, the pellet. Okay, let's do the training. We're gonna do a new one, just, in case we need all the runs. Raycast run 2. wait for it to be ready. It's ready, hit play. Right, I'm going to stop it there because we don't necessarily need it to be a reward of 5 for the mean reward, which I believe we're giving 5 out. Yep, so 5 would be the best. I believe if we waited until it got perfect, it would be overfitting it, which would mean if we changed the environment, it wouldn't, be great. But I think that'd be a fun thing to test. So I'll probably make, a copy or a run with just one with 2, and then, we can hit them up against one that's trained for multiple. And maybe we'll just have one versus the one for multiple, but that'll be, a future video. Now let's just go ahead and tutorial A, pellet grabber. We're going to grab the results, which was raycast run 2. We'll grab this agent controller, go over to here to assets, and just agent controller. I guess we renamed all of the other ones. We can even go ahead and we'll test the different ones. So side brain. Actually, you guys already saw these two, right? I don't know. Well, we'll run each one just to show what it looks like. Let's go ahead and, oh, I just realized I changed it here, but not in there. We're gonna have to habit. Okay, we'll run and just see what happens. This one, obviously, they're not going to do that great. They're not going to know how to do anything other than what they're trying to act. Oh, yeah, it's observation of model does not match. Yeah, because it's expecting to be given a location. So yeah, that shows the models do matter, and how we train them matters. So we'll go and we'll throw this one in, and let's just do that with the new model. And it should be pretty good. This one, honestly, it felt like it was way better than what I've made before doing this. way nicer. And see, those guys, they spawned on each other, so it didn't activate the on trigger enter, I guess, because they were already there. Yeah, this guy, wherever he starts, he just turns and goes for it. Mine, when I've done this before, he'll just keep spinning in a circle and spinning in a circle until he gets closer, and then he's like, oh, okay, I'm close enough now to try, even though his ray perception picks it up. So this is interesting to see just the difference in training for a very similar environment. Well, with that, I hope that you guys enjoyed and that you learned something with this tutorial, and I hope to see you all in the next one. See ya.